Misplaced. I was Selinga at Paste. Then Selinga at Paste Marat. Selinga was the river where my mother spent much of her youth. Aberrant, I did resemble this river, with the dark blue-green hair and sea-foam eyes. I was born to simple farmers. At Paste and Nugwe, my mama Nugwe often reminisced about grandfather Gamble Sambu. She claimed he was a warrior of much repute. This fact surely had no poor bearing upon our state of existence. I failed to see the relevance. In my earliest memories, I heard of my parents complaining of the deeds of our cruel lord. Many nights I lie awake and wondered why they stayed if they were so unhappy. I was eager to work, if only to please them. As early as 5, I was set to picking and planting seeds, then would feed the animals. My parents were not sated with my help. No. Instead, my ears filled with ceaseless news of our careless emperor who allowed the lords what they will. And then that faithless day, Lord Turin selected my Baba amongst the others to test his new sword. When my Baba returned, my heart swelled in my chest until I thought it would explode. My Mama fell to her knees, unable to stand for long abated minutes. The noise she made woke the dead. At least, that is what I thought. As things around me changed, I sensed presences I had never sensed before. No one seemed to notice either. My Baba had survived unlike the others, but he was a fraction of a man and of no use to anyone but us. I could not understand, but I was not supposed to ask questions. The spirits, though, they did not care. They were just pleased to be acknowledged, and in return helped me understand the events that transpired around me. See, we were unable to appeal to the emperor because we were commoners. To voice anything, my Baba would first appeal to Lord Samurai Tutulan, the very same who conducted the cruel acts upon dear Baba Atais. Poor Mama Nugwe was unable to perform the work of two, and I was too small for most tasks. As a result, our house yielded too little produce. We were forced to receive discipline. It was a mockery that beset disquietude upon us. My heart soared when my parents decided to flee rather than to face Samurai Julin's judgment. I was sure we were to rise to good fortune. At sunrise, we neared the roads. Then brigands accosted us as soon as we stepped upon it. Boria was their leader, a despotic man. His eyes sent shiver down my spine. In a frozen state of consternation, I lost my voice. I did not speak again except to whisper to the spirits when we were alone. Boya and his group all reasoned that I was mute, which suited me. Boya saw a hatred for the samurai lords and emperor, and he exploited it. He exploited us. My parents fell into a state of melancholy, then stoically resigned themselves to this life, this fate. Children like me were used as bait to lure unsuspecting passerbys. It was worse than the farm. We labored excessively at the farm, but bathing and food was scarcer here. I learned what hunger was, and I gained evidence of the bad qualities of humans. My dreams were haunted with the continuance of the same screams of the people we assaulted. their eyes as we proceeded to, with untold horrors upon their frail forms, bore into my soul. The circumstance induced bitterness towards people. I would be misanthrope if it was not for the spirits who assured me that a better kind existed. The spirits advised me to leave, but I was a fledgling. I could not give up my parents. They were benignant. They acted out of fear, not desire or want. Besides, Boya's schemes could not last forever. The spirits whispered of him as a nuisance, one the emperor was set to get rid of. I wanted this. I gambled my life on this credence. Then, one late afternoon, a hush fell about the forest. I heard the crunching of the spruce twigs and the crackling of the birch leaves. Musty incense intermingled with the typical fir and pine aromas. I went supine in a rush. The soldiers had set an ambush, and most of Briot's troops were slain. My parents were among them. For long, agonizing seconds, I thought my eyes betrayed me. Why did the spirits not help them? I wanted to shout at them. The weight of the air felt like solid metal upon my chest, constricting my breath. It lacerated my essence, leaving their bodies hapless for the brutish sorts. Yet I was beset. To gather them was to forfeit my own existence. My blood turgid, and I fled before my mind could conjure up more debates. There was nothing for me. Boya was hunted down and dragged off to receive royal justice. I was free of the oppressive vermin, but my chest heaved, racked with unimaginable pain. The spirits guided me as I slipped begrudgingly through the birch beyond the soldier's grasp. My feet seemed to be made of lead as delirium embraced me. My mind was warped by the events, and aimlessly I traversed the dark forest. At sunset, I noticed a clearing off, set by a series of hills. At closer inspection, I saw saxifrage and moss, set in large patches over a strong, short stone wall. There was no gate to shut people out, only guards, who dashed from the promenade to aid me. I must have appeared disheveled and indisposed the way they gave care. I accepted and allowed them to carry me to an inn called Boyata. It was a quaint place, though too far from the empire to afford much than a handful of soldiers as its protection. As a result, they were a hardy lot, being at the mercy of any brigands, orcs, goblins, and worse. They assumed I had escaped given the recent activity, search and seizure of Boya. I did little to persuade them otherwise. Boyata stood tall, overshadowing a rookery. Scant verdure and shops circled the perimeter. The owner of the Boyata were Marat and Audra, who took immediate interest in my welfare. They were a jolly couple who lost their own children. Their youngest daughter, Okana, died of Shar fever. Their oldest, Munga, fancied the traveler's stories too much. Instead of staying to inherit the inn, he stole away in search of life at sea. Little word from him had the couple in a frightful state. The loss of my parents were evident and convenient. The The couple took responsibility of me without consent, though I did little to reject the idea. Their affections helped numb the grief I harbored. The provisions they provided were the best I had ever encountered. For months it was said. My station in life had greatly improved, though inheriting an inn was not well established in my ideals. The loss of my parents could never be replaced, as much as I cherished the couple's attempts to do so. Mama Audra, in particular, was doting. But I quickly showed her how capable I was by foraging mushrooms and herbs from the surrounding forest, and for her stews and pies. Worried Baba Marat schooled me in small blades, staves, and the like. Then he took me hawking with his equals, a sport he was fond of. He took great care of his eagles, as if they were his children, only they on occasion killed wolves. I did enjoy it. It was good bonding. However, I did desiderate towards the vulture. They were more practical fowls, who simply rid the empire of waste. My connection with them was evident. Our awareness of death. My life was desensitized to the inevitability of it all. My approach to such things appeared nonchalant to my parents. Any romanticism I may have had about the world was quantum. My parents did not understand my lack, and my lack of openness was to blame. Perchance to them I was too adult, and they sought to make me childlike again, seeing my disposition as a tragedy rather than a mere understanding of how things were. I conjectured, however. Since the spirits have spoken to me, I have become distant in the tangible reality, a fault all my own. In many regards, I felt dishonest for it, especially to my departed parents, a taste in their way. Guilt slayed in the back of my cranium. I felt honored nonetheless by the truths the spirits bestowed upon me. They led me to magnificent realizations I may have not had otherwise. I was grateful and burdened conjointly. In many aspects, I felt misplaced. It was not just my gifts, but my appearance was also foreign, albeit none were too keen to draw attention to it, except I celebrated too. Was the spirits elusive, and I their vessel, and to what means was I of use? I had yet to discover and still move forward with no better options presented. However, I must admit that the older I get, the more infrequent our encounters. Will they eventually leave me? Still, I wanted answers from living souls, as my mind grew suspicious with the progression of time. I was so young and naive back then. I did have a tendency to merge with the currents for the simplicity of it. At this time, I just entered my teens, and most girls my age were courting boys. In contrast, I sought answers. Living in Boyata Inn, I was fortunate to engage with all sorts of travelers and delighted in hearing their tales. I understood Manga and his fancies. I had the same affliction, wanting to be at sea, though I presume I was driven by a deeper cognizance. I attempted to coax travelers, peering to their egos, with aspirations of tagging along. Then Mama Audra overheard me, and she passed out. The guilt she paved over my soul weighed heavy. Nonetheless, Boyetta was not in my destiny. Of this I was sure. Any remnants of doubt were shattered by my interactions. I may have not been knowledgeable of much, but this I knew. I had the gift of a shaman. They were shamans of tribes of people, and this gift was passed down through generations. If any of my family had this gift, they did not let it air. I should have been discouraged by the plethora of no's. The stale reality was that I was not.
Your like and subscribing means so very much to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, love you, love you.
That was from Motley Gambits, only available on Amazon. However, my books are available Barnes & Noble and Amazon Ingram, paperback or ebook. Hello, my name is Deanne Treasure Kellogg. I'm an artist, illustrator, writer. Thank you for listening, watching, and I do hope you come back for more. Let me know how I can better serve you. Remember, you are what you repeatedly do every day. We live in a conceptual field of infinite potential and possibility. Vibe high, and until next time.